Yeah.
So the chosen people were set up. They were set up by the people that we're getting ready to name now. Now we're getting ready to name who these people are, who these groups are. Read.
The tabernacles of Edom.
The tabernacles of Edom, that's the so-called Europeans, the so-called whites, the so-called Caucasians. Who else?
And the Ishmaelites.
And the Ishmaelites. We know who those are. Those are the so-called Arabs right now. Read.
Of Moab and the Hagarenes.
And the Hagarenes. Read.
Jebel and Ammon and Amalek, the Philistines.
The Philistines, the Philistines. Read.
With the inhabitants of Tyre.
With the inhabitants of Tyre, that is your modern day Africans. So we have the group, we have the modern day Caucasians, the modern day Arabs, the modern day Philistines, and the modern day Africans. These four groups came together, they were confederate against us, and they set us up. And it's amazing how these four groups are the same four groups that are in our communities right now. These same four groups are in our communities right now. When you want to go to the gas station, where you got to go? You got to go to the Arabs. When you want to go to the store, where do you go? You got to go to the Arabs. When you want to go to to get a house or to get a car, you can need a loan. Where you go? You go to the Caucasians, or you go to the Jewish people, the Jewish people. You know what I'm saying? If you want to go to get your hair braided, where you got to go? You go to the Africans. You need a kente cloth to say that you African, or you from Africa, you go to the Africans. When we have African festival here downtown Detroit, everybody want to buy everything African. We want Africa, we want to get Africa statue, all that. These brothers don't even live in the same community we live in. You live next to an African brother?
No, sir.
Have you seen an African brother in your neighborhood?
No, sir.
I ain't seen an African brother. I ain't seen one, and I ain't seen one call me and say, come home, brother, come with me. Come back to the motherland. You know, I've never seen that. And it's a shame. And I'm not trying to talk about nobody, but I'm saying we have to wake up and see what's going on. These so-called nations are the same nations that can come into this country, so-called the land of the free and the land of the brave, and live here tax-free for 7 years. And put 30 people in a house and then run our community, buy up our business, buy up the blocks in our community. But we can't get one African-American, so-called African-American, to come together and go buy up a building and get a store. Wake up, man, see what's going on. Because they were confederate with one consent against us. Didn't no Europeans just get off the boat in Africa and just jumped off the boat and just started taking people, just snatching people off an island? They had people set us up. The Arabs. The Arabs were the main people that grabbed us up. The Arabs, because most people don't know, they look at the Arabs and you hear people say, Christ wasn't black, he wasn't white, he was Middle Eastern looking. That's no such thing, man. Arabs, we didn't look, the way Arabs look now, they didn't look back then. Arabs looked straight up dark, like me. An Arab, you know what an Arab is? An Arabic, they trace their family back to Ishmael. That's their beginning. They trace their beginning back to Ishmael. What is Ishmael? He's a mixture of a Hebrew and an Egyptian. That ain't Middle Eastern. He became Middle East. He became that look because he began to mix with the Euros. But the Arabs were straight up dark. And I have pictures on my laptop to show the Arabs that used to catch us up. They were straight dark. And they made our women concubines. They had 300, 200 concubines of Hebrew women. The same thing they doing now. When you go into our Coney Islands, when you go into our liquor stores, when you go into our gas stations, guess who's working in those gas stations? Our black sisters, our Hebrew sisters, our women of Zion. They're working in those gas stations. And they still doing the same thing, hitting on our sisters. Wake up, y'all. Wake up. They are confederate against us. Go down to verse what, 12?
Verse 12. Who said, let us take ourselves the houses of God.
Let us take ourselves the houses of the Most High and do what?
In possession.
In possession. In possession, which means to control them. They call us quiet killers in the economy because we make everything go. If you want something to sell, put it in the black community. Read.
Oh my God, make them like a wheel.
Go to verse 17.
Psalms 83 and 17. Let them be confounded and troubled forever.
Let them be confounded and troubled forever. That means let them be confused. Let them not know what's going on forever. And troubled, confounded and troubled forever. We are the most confused and troubled nation on the face of this earth. And other nations look at us and shake their heads. Man, why they walking around with their pants down their butt? Why they walking around saying nigger this and nigger that in front of all these different nations? Why do they act stupid? Why do they kill one another? Why do they men wear beads in their hair? Why do they men wear permed out hair and put barrettes in their head like you Snoop Dogg? Why they perm their hair out like DJ Quick and all these other guys? We are a confounded nation, a troubled nation. Why do they call their women all type of names on their music? We are a confounded nation. Why can't they get together, but then they united to make other people rich? The Indians come into our community. The Koreans come into our community. They was just doing a study. The Koreans, the hair weave, they a $15 billion industry. The hair weave itself, $15 billion industry a year. I'm not talking about cocoa butter or Murray's grease. I'm talking about hair weave alone, $15 billion industry a year. Because they have taken us into possession and making money off of us. But let's find out what happened for us being disobedient to the Most High. Go to Deuteronomy 28. We have to wake up and see what's really going on. They setting us up. They really setting us up. And we have to understand that they want us to fall. They want us to fall because the Gentiles continue to rule. The Gentiles will continue to rule as long as Israel don't wake up. As long as Israel don't wake up. Stop.